Hello and welcome to the Mile High Church podcast. Join us and some very special guests as we dive in together, open our hearts and get real to discuss what we've been thinking about. So hey, it's Barry. It's great to be back with my friends here, Linda and Kay. Welcome.
Hi, Barry.
Hey, Bear.
Good to see you guys. And we're talking today about health and wellness. And one of the things that we might talk about today is the power of community. Community is immunity. And I know that you guys both do a lot of work to get people together in circles and in different kind of situations where they get to know each other, get to share information, and just kind of ideas and feel that power of being together. So what's your take on that, Linda, just in terms of why it's a gift for people who are dealing with symptoms to come together?
I'm going to look at it from a little different perspective first, and then I'm going to come right back and answer your question.
Okay.
But what we know about the reverse of community, which is loneliness, is that loneliness does not do our bodies any good at all. The isolation goes against the way we're naturally put together as herd animals. You know, we came together millennia ago because being in collective groups helped with child rearing and food gathering. So we developed a real affinity for being together. And when that's missing, our health suffers. So the converse of that is that when we're together, our health improves. So I know Kay and I see this so pointedly in the Healing Intention Circles and in our support group on Wednesday nights. And this support group on Wednesday nights just consistently has 20 people, up to 28 people, and they come together, and I believe it's because it breaks the isolation that some people are feeling due to COVID, and we have a shared history. And so we can come together and get the benefits of community, which are feeling seen and feeling heard. And when people do that, it really innervates and energizes their entire divine body temple, and their immunity goes up. And this has been studied. People with 3 or more important connections, and it doesn't have to be human connection, it can be your furry friend connection, but people with 3 or more have higher numbers of circulating white blood cells, which are the important cells for immunity. So those are some of the ways that coming together, being in community, really helps us physically.
So how does somebody who's new muster up the courage to walk into a room like that on Wednesday night? How do you start?
I think anyone who's ever been in a relationship or is in a relationship knows that they're like a garden, and gardens need tending. And I will have been married 40 years this month. And so that's taken quite a bit of tending. And I look at my friendships, the same way. And so, yes, it does take some effort. So to your question, how does somebody muster it up? I think you just have to be your own best friend to make friends and to know this is going to be good for me. This is going to benefit me. And then just be the first one to say hello. Be the first one to reach out. Come to some of the classes offered here. Attend a support group. Volunteer, be an usher. Tons of ways to meet people here at Mile High Church. Taking the first step is key.
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing of just walking in the door the first time when you don't know people, and it just brings up all kinds of stuff, and you feel like you're back in middle school. I think it's good for people to be able to break that and just get back into community again. And COVID has obviously made it a lot tougher. So yeah.
Yes, it has. As a former middle school counselor, I think we're all 8th graders for
That's a
life.
Scary thought. Yeah,
we get creakier joints, but we're all 8th graders and all continually self-conscious, but just do it. It'll benefit you.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I know that you have a lot invested emotionally in the intention circles. And so can you talk a little bit about that, about what the idea is of that and how they're set up?
Yeah, the intention circles are really an opportunity for people who really, really want to dive into something that's distressing them a lot and have and just join with other people that are willing to actually hold the best for them at the time. I think that it's interesting how people seemed more willing to come when we were in person, which is interesting because when we're in person, we sat very close, knees touching, we held each other's hands, even if it was a stranger next to us. Remember those days way back? Anyway, and that's what the circles were made of. Now we're online, which is actually wonderful for people who are hither and yon, because they can be on Zoom with us no matter where they are. So for me, it feels like it's more accessible. But you do have to be willing to, get the Zoom link and come into it. And the interesting thing that happens, and I see it month after month, we do this once a month, is that people actually, I always ask them they're sitting in their own little office, I always ask them, I say, put your hands out as if you were holding the hand of the person next to you. We've all introduced ourselves, everybody knows a little bit about everybody. And I say, just imagine that you're holding hands, no matter where anybody is, feel that. And then we go through the whole process of the intention and so forth for one of the people in the group. But at the end, people always report, I felt the energy. I felt the energy of the people, even though I don't know you really, except for the little square on the screen, and I'm very far away. And that's one of the things about that particular activity that we do that I love the most, that people get the feeling of allness, that we're all together. We can actually even feel the energy of each other when we're far apart. This is, the allness of spirit. This is the understanding of the oneness, because you really can have an experience of that. So that's certainly one of the things that works well. I hope we can be in person again someday, but we may always be offering it on Zoom, because it really opens it to having a community that is much broader than it used to be. It used to only be people who knew where Mile High Church was. Maybe they knew people here, and those are the ones who came. Now we get people from all over that attend.
And I think as people are on Zoom more, the opportunity is there to bring your focus to a group like that and to really bring yourself there and not be doing other things and multitasking all the time. Because if you're going to get the benefit of community, I think you have to bring yourself to it emotionally. And, it's easy on Zoom to not do that. But I think in the kind of work that you're doing, you're trying to get people to actually show up emotionally and to be honest with what's going on with them. And, hopefully they're doing it. Does it feel like that's what's going on Zoom most of the time?
I think it does, and it really goes back to that idea of community as a way to be seen and heard for who you authentically are. And so last week, for example, we did prayer requests first in our support group. And so people are asking for prayer support for tumors they hope will disappear, and relationships they hope will heal, and finances they hope will improve. So we go right to the heart of the matter. And I think the other thing about community is that it binds us together in spiritual community in particular, such that it seems like we share the same road, the road of spiritual journey. And there are potholes on that road. I have fallen in a few. There are potholes on the road, but there's a bottom even to the pothole. And when you're in community, you feel it. Other people can lift you up, support you, empathize with you, and it breaks that feeling alone or uncared for. It gives meaning and mattering, which are so important, especially in times of a pandemic.
Yeah. And do you find that, like in your Wednesday group, that you have people who are there, who are regulars, who are there every week?
Very much so. So sometimes we can almost guess what the prayer request will be for.
Yeah.
Because some of our situations are chronic, like autoimmune diseases or arthritis, Crohn's disease, diabetes, things that are longer term. Well, they don't get solved, but again, you're on the path, you have your potholes, people lift you out of those potholes, even if the road appears quite long. It just helps so much to have community to do it with. And we have this saying in the healing ministry, no one can do the healing for you, but we can certainly do it with you.
Yeah. I like that. And do you find that you get people from all different kinds of religious backgrounds that are open to the spiritual aspect of healing?
I would say we have mostly New Agers. We have metaphysical folks. But now and then we have someone from a more traditional background. But everyone, we don't get too technical, but I think everyone tends to feel there's a higher power.
Yeah.
We can employ it for our good. Enough said.
Well, I think that's one of the things that's interesting about the time that we're in. There's a lot of science. We've got a lot of science. We've got a lot of medical stuff. But I think people are questioning everything, right? Questioning the authority of everything and where the power really is. And so, I like this work of people just opening to something new and opening to the healing power that is alive in us. And I think that's what your work really focuses on. And I think more people are being open to it. So I think that's good. And so you think when you go back, when we get rid of the mask mandates or we move forward in some way, that you'll probably do both? That you'll have online and in-person both?
It could happen. Either way, I think that we would unfortunately be cutting some people off if we don't maintain online.
Yeah.
And as long as we, have the manpower to pull it together, we have a pretty good team of people, and I think we could do both. One of the things about our particular ministry is that we don't even have to talk about the spiritual aspect if for some reason somebody doesn't seem to be feeling open to that, because there's so much science now. And it's in all the healing books that are coming out lately. And they've been coming out for years, but there wasn't so much attention paid for a long time. That is, there's so much that an individual can do to put their body into the right frame so that the body itself can do the healing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we talk about is that the healing happens in the body. It doesn't happen because you're taking this medicine. Now, the medicine may stimulate some things that help the body move, but the body does it. Just like it heals the cut when you cut your finger. I mean,
the body
you don't.
heals.
Yeah, the body is the one that heals. So there's so much research that supports that. And one of the biggest things that all of the books that have come out most recently about spontaneous healing, about people who heal things that there is no cure for, the doctors just throw up their hands, say there's nothing more I can do for you, and yet these people heal. A big element of that always ends up being this community part, this support part, this gathering, being in community with, and it doesn't mean it has to be a huge community. Like Linda said, there's several people that are close, they feel, they communicate and they support, and that is a huge part of what can stimulate that healing within our own very own body.
Yeah, and keep us going. I think the thing that you talk about, some of these journeys are pretty long, right? And so I think a support group helps you stay with it when you're not feeling like staying with it and you're feeling like giving up. And I think, just the consistent message that the healing is going on within us, regardless of what your spiritual or religious background is. Hopefully it's leading us in that direction, that there's a power in our cells, that our cells are alive, intelligent, and are responding to our thoughts and our emotions. And I think the emotion of being together is a big thing that our cells are looking for, which is kind of where you started, right? We're kind of wired to be together, and I think that that's the work that you're doing.
And you can wire up a person and look at what's flowing in their blood when they're in a supportive setting, and you will see there are more of the good hormones, the resting, repair, and rejuvenating hormones.
Mm-hmm.
There's more dopamine, there's more relaxin, there's more of the hugging or bonding hormone, oxytocin. There are more good endorphins that fight pain and give pleasure. So yes, it's true scientific fact, meaning spiritual truth, that being together is good for us in the short term and in the longer term.
Great.
It is good
Great.
news.
So I might just say one other thing about one of the good things that's come out of this COVID situation that we've all been living in, and that is that people have been forced to figure out ways to connect with family without being together. So people have learned how to use FaceTime, or they've learned how to get onto Zoom, and then they can see each other as they talk. And even though, of course, it doesn't feel the same as us all sitting in the same room, but it creates a connection that in many instances was never there. My husband has relatives in Sweden who we haven't seen for 30 years. And suddenly, every couple of months, we're seeing those people again. And they're talking about their life, and they're talking about what's going on in where they live. And that also can be a part of this community, that feeling that you can get that actually affects your body. I had an experience just a couple days ago. Years ago, like in the 80s, I was in an organization where I sat on an executive committee, and we were very close, all women, very close friends. And of course, we've stayed sort of in touch all the time, but sort of kind of all drifted away. Well, the ones of us that are still in Denver I called them, I said, let's go to lunch. So we've made this plan. And then there's one who moved to Texas forever ago, and I thought, I'm going to email her. I emailed her. She sent back a whole lovely email about what's gone on in her life, the fact that her husband had passed, how she was doing with that. And then I sent that to the 4 women I'm going to have lunch with, and every one of them responded in the same, it's so good to hear from her. I mean, you can see all of us, I loved writing to her. Then when I got the response back, I had this great, good feeling. Then when I sent it on to the other friends, they each responded with this great, good feeling of, oh, so good to hear from her. We just haven't heard from her for years. So I thought to myself, there are parts of this quote-unquote isolation stuff that has created opportunities for us to still be connected.
Yeah, we're finding the gifts. We're finding the gifts in
Yeah.
it, and I think that's what your work is about today. We're finding that we really want community, and we need it. And so I think that if there's a gift in COVID, and obviously there always is, I think that's what it is. It's going to bring us closer together, and this thing that we always talk about oneness, maybe it'll move us closer to that too. All right, so good. Well, thank you both for being here. And we will see you all again soon. This is Barry signing off. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
You bet.
Let's stick together.
You got it.